Well, you know Bridie, you do. Well, like, she'd be a sister of mine, Bridie. Like, Bridie's the one that had the mobile home down in Clare. Well, last weekend we were down at Bridie's, like, well, you see, well, Bridie was having a christening, like, you know what I mean? Well, like, well, you know, there was a fair turnout, there must have been about 30 or 40 or 50 at the christening, you know what I mean? And you know the way you'll be with about 30 or 40 or 50 people coming out of a christening, like, straight into a pub. And you know the way you'll be after coming from a christening after stopping off in a pub, like, about 30 or 40, 50 people in one shot. You couldn't get a drink. I couldn't get a drink. I couldn't get a drink. So when I get up to the counter, then I ask for a crate of Guinness, like, you know what I mean? Well, just to keep me going, like, you have me, like, you know what I mean? So I grabbed the crate of Guinness and I went straight down and I was drinking away nicely now, and I'd most of the crate of Guinness drank when who arrives in on Bridie. Now, lads, ye know Bridie as well as I do, right? Typical Bridie, of course, you know what I mean? Are ye staying here all day, or what are you doing, says she? Right, says I, I'm going immediately. Well, you know the way you'll be after coming from a christening, after stopping off in a pub, after drinking a crate of Guinness, going back to Bridie's, like, you know what I mean? Well, you see, Bridie was having a kind of a two-in-one. Bridie was having the housewarming and the christening all in the one day, do you know what I mean? Right, says I, I'm going immediately. Well, you know the way you'll be after coming from a christening, after stopping off in a pub, after drinking a crate of Guinness, going back to a housewarming, do you know what I mean, after coming from a christening? Well, you couldn't be going back with one hand as long as another, like, you know what I mean? So I got another crate of Guinness and a large bottle of paddy, and straight back to the bungalow with me. Well, ficked lad, she had the bungalow looking lovely, huh? Oh, Jesus, my Lord. Aluminium doors, aluminium floors, aluminium gutters, aluminium chutes, aluminium downpipes, aluminium uppipes, aluminium Georgian pillars, aluminium windows. Ficked was looking lovely now, like, what I mean? And I went straight into the middle room. You know the way you'd be inclined to go into the middle room inside in the housewarming after coming from a christening, after stopping off in a pub, after drinking the Christmas. I was mad for the bit of crack, like, so I went straight into the middle room, and I was drinking away nicely inside, and I'd most of the second crate of Guinness drank, and a half a bottle of paddy inside me, and I was kind of leaning again the mantelpiece. You know the way you'd be inclined to kind of lean again the mantelpiece with 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey inside you, like, when who arrives in on Bridie? Jesus, says Bridie to me, Jack, will you mind just lighting? I won't, says I, I'm fine. Well, you know the way you'll be with 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey inside you, like, will you give over, you're going to knock the whole place down? I won't, says I, I'm fine. And I get in pure tick with the drink with the 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey inside me, at an angle of 45 degrees to the floor, do you know what I mean? Defying the law of gravity, and I gathered up all the figurines at one end of the mantelpiece. Unknowns to myself, Jesus, will you mind, you're going to bring the whole lot down? I won't, says I, I'm fine. Well, lads, whatever move I made, everything that was on top of the mantelpiece came straight down onto the floor. And where did I end up? But inside in the fucking fire. Jesus, Friday! Will you get out? Says she, you're going to burn. I won't, says I, I'm fine. And I get in pure tick with the drink again. Will you get out? You're going to burn today. I won't, says I, I'm fine. And I get in pure tick with the drink with the 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey inside me. Well, that's whatever move I made, I rolled out of the floor on top of the new carpet. Well, if the shit didn't hit the fan, 'twas all over. Jesus, says Bridie, it isn't bad enough you want to burn yourself, now you want to burn down the new house. Will you get out, says she? I won't, says I, I'm fine. And the coat and the vest bumped off my back, and I could feel the top of the underpants going, you know what I mean? And I was kind of rolling round trying to keep everything under control. Will you get out? You're going to burn the whole place down. I won't, says I, I'm fine. Well, lads, no word of a lie, lads, I dampened things down. As soon as I stood up, lads, the blisters, the fucking blisters, the blisters that came up in my back, they were that size. They were big blisters, like, you know what I mean? And Bridie took one look at me and she dived over the sofa. Will you get out, says she, you're about to burst. I won't, says I, I'm fine. And I get in pure tick with the drink again. Will you get out, says she, you're going to explode. I won't, says I, I'm fine. Well, lads, no word of a lie. Whatever move I made, every blister that was on top of my back burst, and Bridie was there, and she was giving out show. I showed a disgrace. Look at the state of you. You'll have to get drunk, you'll have to knocking down the figurines, you'll have to fall into the fire, you'll have to burn yourself, burn the carpet, you'll have to exploding all over the living room. And you're after making a show of me, and you're after making a show of Mammy. Well, feck it, says I, Bridie. That's a dirty dig now, says I to Bridie. Well, you know the way you'd be yourself, like, what I mean? You know the way you'd be now with 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey inside you, like. You'd hate to have Mammy dragged into anything, you know what I mean? And that's it, like. Well, you see, Bridie knew that I was getting upset, and cute enough Bridie. Bridie turns round to me, and Bridie says to me, will you drink a cup of tea? I will, says I. You know the way you'd be now, like after 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey, like, after falling into a fire, like, you'd love a cup of tea, do you know what I mean? So I went straight into the kitchen after Bridie, and she was boiling up a kettle, and she was cutting up a bit of meat to make a ham sandwich. Well, lads, no word of a lie. Whatever move I made, I got a fit of reversing from the whiskey. Do you know what I mean, like? Well, you see, like, I was inclined to go backwards. Do you follow me? Well, you see, fecked, look at lads, I didn't want to go anywhere at all. I was happy where I was, you know what I mean? But fecked, I'd no control over it. And as I started to stagger back, wasn't I building up a bit of speed as well at the same time? Well, lads, when Bridie heard the thump, she turned around, and I had gone head over heels into the deep freeze. And all she could see of me was the 2 hooves cocked in the air. When Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and God forgive me for swearing, says she, will you get out, says she, you'll freeze. I won't, says I'm fine. And I get pure thick with the drink again. Will you get out, says she, you'll die of exposure. I won't, says I'm fine. Well, no word of a lie, lads. As soon as I hit the deep freeze, every drop of alcohol that was inside in the vein, the brain, the bladder, the small intestine, the large intestine, the gut, the stomach, the bowels, the whole lot, it all froze up solid. Now, 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey froze up inside me. 4.5 days I spent inside in the deep freeze. 4.5 days in a constant state of inebriation. 4.5 days on 2 crates of Guinness and a half bottle of whiskey. 'Twas the cheapest piss-up I ever went.